MacKenzie Gore has been activated off the IL and he will be making his start tonight. But guys, this is not just a normal end to the season. I want to see a six-man rotation.
You are Locked On Nationals, your daily Washington Nationals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And yes, I am your host, Ryan Clary, one of your Nationals insiders here on the Locked On Nationals podcast. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every single day. And later on in today's program, we will have a preview of tonight's matchup with MacKenzie Gore coming back, going up against left-handed pitcher Ryan Weathers. We'll have that discussion later on in the show today. And in the second segment, things are moving for the Washington Nationals in their GM search. And one declaration I made about 2 weeks ago, I said I think it's going to be Mike DiBartolo as the GM. Now I'm going to take a turn. I think they're going to go outside the organization. I'll tell you why in the second segment. But we start off discussing MacKenzie Gore coming off the IL tonight. Our ace is back, but I want to see a six-man rotation. I'll explain that. But today's episode is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy, and enter for a chance to win a dream golf trip for 2 to any golf tournament in the USA. Visit 5hewin.com for full rules and entry. No purchase is necessary, excludes the Masters tournament, and it ends on October 31st, 2025. So MacKenzie Gore comes off the IL tonight, which is awesome, but I want to see a six-man rotation, and here's why. For every dares out there, what am I about to say? September is about the young guys. September is about Dalen Lyles' breakout. September is about Andrew Alvarez and the quality starts that he continues to put up. September is about seeing growth from these younger guys, but it's also about keeping your guys healthy. If you look at this Nationals rotation right now, from top to bottom, MacKenzie Gore, just coming off the IL with some shoulder issues, probably wasn't that big of a deal. Probably didn't have to miss a start, but, the season's over with. They needed some caution there, and, they put the yellow tape around him, and they put him on the IL. Thought that was perfectly fine. Jake Irvin has had Tommy John in the past. Mitchell Parker has had some issues in the past. Guys all around this starting rotation right now have been injured in years past. So forget with what you want to see. Just simply protecting your rotation going into next season 100% healthy should be the Nationals' priority moving forward. Having a six-man rotation just gives you an extra day to rest. But what it also gives this team is an opportunity to see what Andrew Alvarez can do. Right now, over his first 2 starts with Nats, Andrew Alvarez has been wildly impressive. In looking into what could be happening with this team, are you sure that Andrew Alvarez is going to be in the rotation next season? Probably not. This is his opportunity to prove himself, but also not only just to prove himself, to just see what we have. Maybe Andrew Alvarez is your next Brad Lord. Brad Lord has been phenomenal this season. Brad Lord has been incredible. He was not really on our radar. Even after last year's incredible season, I was not anticipating him making the opening day roster this year. And he did. And he cracked the rotation. And he has looked pretty good so far. Again, that is someone who is like an 18th round pick. Andrew Alvarez was I believe, a 12th round pick off the top of my dome at this point. You have to give your young guys these opportunities. And right now in a season which is completely lost, you are obviously not making the playoffs. You have really nothing to play for besides this, giving your young guys the opportunities. If I'm Miguel Cairo and Mike DiBartolo today, I am seeing what the Nationals can do with this six-man rotation. And quite frankly, it's simply the smart thing to do. So with that in mind, MacKenzie Gore makes his start tonight. He's coming off the IL. But I want them to really go in on a 6-man rotation. They did not do this last year. They really haven't done this in quite some time. But this is the smart thing to do, in my opinion. You need to have your eyes set on what you have in the building. And Andrew Alvarez certainly has been something in my mind that might be something for you down the road. The time to figure that out is now with him in this rotation. So going forward, hopefully the Nationals have this 6-man rotation, and hopefully maybe we have something with Andrew Alvarez. That'll be something to watch for as we continue to move on. But I also want to get into some things from last night's game and also the corresponding roster move as Orlando Rebalta has been optioned to AAA. I was kind of wondering what the Nationals would do with MacKenzie Gore coming back. Maybe they would option Andrew Alvarez, but ultimately they decided Orlando Rebalta, who, again, cracked the opening day roster this year, was kind of that surprise guy who fit on this roster. Hasn't really had the best of seasons for the Nationals. I believe that he has got some talent there. I believe there is something to work with, but he has not been able to put it all together and ultimately has not been able to stay healthy either. So Orlando Rebalta was the roster move for the Washington Nationals. But how about last night's game, guys? One thing that I really hit home on with Miguel Cairo when the Nationals decided that he was going to be the man in charge moving forward was I wanted to see some fire. I wanted to see some passion. And last night, we got to see that. Bravo. This Nationals team lately, they've been playing great baseball. Last night, unfortunately, things unraveled there in the 6th inning. We all know what happened there. It was just a mess of a sequence there, according to Laz Diaz, who is just continuing to be one of the worst umpires in all of baseball and just continues to clown himself every step of the way. But right now, with what I saw with Miguel Cairo and Jake Irvin for that matter, kudos to you guys. Being ejected, some people look at it as a bad thing, in my opinion. But number one, look at it from this perspective. Baseball is a long season. You need to have a little bit of fire under your feet. You need to kind of feel that heat just a little bit to maybe get you riled up for that game tonight or maybe the series going ahead. Last night, Miguel Cairo kind of lit a fire under the Nationals' butt, and that felt good. It just did. Seeing that last night, again, it doesn't change the way I feel about this organization and the downfall, really, of what things have been like this season. But what I saw last night was finally some passion. Finally something that I can say, you know what? Miguel Cairo, great job. You did the right thing there. Going after defending your team overall, defending Jake Irvin in that scenario, kudos to you. That is something that Davey Martinez did not do this season, in my opinion. There were plenty of opportunities. We saw him at the top of the steps of the dugout, just kind of sitting there with that's it. We never saw that passion from Davey. And at times we did. I was there for the legendary toss out for him against the Arizona Diamondbacks on a Wednesday day game in June. And what he did was incredible. And of course, the Nationals went on to go for a little bit of a run there. But as we have seen with this Nats team, this is a pretty deadbeat team at this point. Seeing what Miguel Cairo did last night, awesome job to him. And I loved seeing that. So kudos to him. Kudos to Jake Irvin for defending himself. You don't see Jake Irvin get riled up the way that he did, yelling at Laz Diaz from the dugout. I saw the camera footage today. Pretty funny stuff there. Good for Jake Irvin sticking up for himself. Just an awful sequence of umpiring there. Please, let's fix that Major League Baseball. But nonetheless, we are the Locked On Dalen Lyle podcast, so we got to talk about Dalen Lyle here. Dalen Lyle tied Bryce Harper for the most triples as a Nationals rookie. And Dalen Lyle has done this in 73 games this season? He had his 9th triple last night. Dalen Lyle continues to defy all odds at this point of what we expected from him. Seeing what he has been able to do this season, how can you not be in awe of his offensive performance so far? batting in a premier spot in the cleanup role right behind Josh Bell and James Wood and CJ Abrams. Dalen Lyle has played himself into, forget like talking about maybe this guy is something. He's going to be in your opening day lineup next season playing left field or right field, whichever he'll be. That is how premier he is at this point. And looking at the recent hot streak, I mean, over his last 30 games, it's ridiculous at this point. He has hit 3 home runs. He's batting .339 and has a .545 slug. Even over his last 7 games, he's batting .419 with a .871 slug. The things that he has been able to do offensively, it honestly reminds me of someone like a Michael Brantley type of hitter. That's how good that Dalen Lyle could be, in my opinion. Continuing to see the success that he has had, I've just been in awe of what Dalen Lyle has been able to do so far. But you know what? Dalen Lyle might have a new head of baseball operations pretty dang soon. And let's talk about that, because I now get the sense that the Nats GM search could be over pretty quickly. And also, I've had a change of thoughts of what could be happening. Stay tuned for that after this. Time to fuel up and turn it up with 5-Hour Energy Transfusion. This grape, ginger, and lime flavored shot brings the iconic taste of a golf course favorite to a non-alcoholic boost, perfect for sinking birdies or making great memories with friends. It's a hole-in-one for your energy game. Whether you're out in the courts or just need a little extra push to power through your day, 5-Hour Energy Transfusion delivers the clubhouse flavor that you love without ever leaving the green. And of course, I always need a little bit of energy when I am out there golfing, because I'm not the best, but also that 5-Hour Energy Transfusion, that grape and ginger and lime flavored drink, it makes me feel so good. And also it makes me even better out in the golf course, because golf is all about good times with good people and good flavors. So the grape, ginger, lime flavor of 5-Hour Energy Transfusion gives you the best parts of your clubhouse go-to without leaving the course or chasing down the bev cart. Now you can amp up the fun even more. Just buy, snap, and enter for a chance to win a dream golf trip for 2 to any golf tournament in the USA. So tee up that trip. Visit 5hewin.com for full rules and entry. No purchases necessary. Excludes the Masters tournament, and it ends October 31st, 2025. Now, let me tell you guys about my friends at FanDuel. And yes, the NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure that you are ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. And I love using FanDuel because it fits however you like to bet. Maybe you like to build a player prop or build a same-game parlay like tonight. I've got a Commanders money line prop. I've got a Bill Krosky Merritt anytime touchdown prop as well. And also, scary Terry McLaurin, his first touchdown of the year. He had 13 last year. I'm going to bet on him getting one tonight. So if you're ready to play, y'all download the FanDuel app. And now, by visiting FanDuel.com to get started again, that is FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. Again, look up FanDuel.com and download America's #1 sportsbook. Again, that is FanDuel.com. And we are back to Locked On Nationals. I am your host, Ryan Clary. If you have not done so already, hit that subscriber button, please. Look up Locked On Nationals wherever you get your pods, again, including over on YouTube, and hit that subscriber button, drop a thumbs up, and let me know what you think about the podcast in the comments section. But now we get into a little bit of a change of thought for myself, because the Nationals could be honing in on a new GM here in town. And yes, I have gotten the sense that the Nationals will not be just hiring Mike DiBartolo. They will be going outside the organization, and that's the correct thing. It makes the most sense. If you were to look at this Nats, you would probably think the same thing that we are all thinking. The Nationals need a change of direction. They need a new voice. They need a totally gutting performance by this ownership group to go into baseball operations and completely tear it up and start a new foundation. That is the unfortunate truth. Right now, Mike DiBartolo has done a fine job, in my opinion. I like Mike DeBartolo. I think that he has done pretty well with what he has been given so far. But also on the flip side of the coin, that is simply just not enough for me at this point. I need a new voice. I need someone that the players can come into and also buy into the future of this team. I think having that new change of direction, which it feels as if the Nationals are leaning towards, is the absolute correct thing to do. Unfortunately for Mike DeBartolo, all he has known is Mike Rizzo. And that's not unfortunate. Again, I want people to know Mike Rizzo is a legend. Mike Rizzo, in my opinion, is still a good GM. He is just not here for DC, in my opinion. He is not the guy for this team anymore. We understand that. The learners understood that, and they moved on from him at the correct time. But Mike DeBartolo worked under Mike Rizzo. And again, he had the same interaction with these players as Mike Rizzo did as well. I think at this point in time, you just simply need to have a new voice in the building. And if that means, unfortunately for a lot of these people, gutting the baseball operations department, then that's what has to happen. I think it's a really unfortunate thing. Again, a lot of the people are very talented, and I'm sure there are some mega talented voices in the building, including Mike DeBartolo, but that's what this team and this organization needs. And right now, it has to start at the top. You have to change the trajectory of this team at this point. We have to be looking up, and we have to really kind of get with the times as well. Heavy on analytics, spending money in free agency. That's on the owners. I understand that. But things just need to change. And in my opinion, it starts with getting a new voice in this building. So with all the new rumors, actually, Barry Svaluga tweeted out today that the Nationals have actually been having dinners with some GM candidates, or maybe it's president of baseball operations candidates. And oh, by the way, don't leave this thought out. While even yesterday I was talking about Carter Hawkins, the GM of the Chicago Cubs, taking a sideward step and just kind of like, taking a GM job somewhere else. If you really kind of think about it, what if the Nationals were actually going to be hiring him as the president of baseball operations? Hear me out for a second. What if the Nationals could be going to this idea that they're going to hire a president of baseball operations first and then get a GM in charge here? One thing that I think a lot of Nationals fans may not realize at this point, Mike Rizzo held both those titles. When you have a president of baseball operations, you typically have someone in that GM role under you. Mike DeBartolo was like the de facto assistant GM. I guess that was one of his titles, but even then, Mike Rizzo held the president/GM of baseball operations for this team. He was both those things. If the Nationals hire a president and then the president hires a GM, I would not be surprised if they go that route. You have seen teams like the Detroit Tigers. They've done that in a really brilliant way. The Chicago Cubs with Jed Hoyer and Carter Hawkins, they have done that. And whatever you want to say about that, they've done a good job with it. I could see the Nationals going in that route, but also with that in mind, it makes me think, will the learners spend the money and able to do that? Will they be able to actually get the money there? And are they willing to spend that kind of money on your front office? That's a big question that I think I probably had that may hold myself back from that thought. But right now, with where things are, it does kind of feel as if they could be kicking the tires in that possibility. And they want to get things right. Here's the thing about this in just my mind. The learners right now are a bad ownership group. There is no way around it at this time. But also they want to win. And maybe they have the realization that, hey, if we need to win, we're going to have to spend money, maybe not just on the field, but also in our baseball operations department. We're going to have to get the shiny new toys and all the analytics here and kind of build that pitching factory that a lot of teams have. And of course, right now, the Nationals are lacking a lot of those things. Maybe something has kind of woken them up a little bit, and that is why that they are here today saying, we need to fix things, and we can fix things. So with that in mind, just kind of put a bow in this conversation. The Nationals need a new voice. Whoever it is, I will be relatively happy. Again, if it's not my number one candidate, then so be it. If it's not the number two candidate, so be it. Whatever it's going to be, it's hopefully going to be a smart, analytical thinker who has been in it and who has done this with good organizations as far as developing goes. The Nationals need to completely change things up, and it has to start with hiring the correct GM and or president of baseball operations here in town. Things need to change, and I think things will be changing as we continue to kind of move forward that next step. And honestly, within the next 3 weeks, I'm willing to bet you're going to have a new GM who will hopefully have his intro press conference, and we'll see how things go from there. But thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcast. Next, let's talk about MacKenzie Gore, who makes his start tonight. But also, I've got a name, a big name, that I want you to watch out for the Nationals GM search. I'll talk about that after this. You've probably seen a million ads for hair growth products and thought, sure, like that actually works. There are so many products out there, and it's hard to know which ones are actually going to do anything. That is why you should give Nutrafol a closer look. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement brand, trusted by over 1.5 million people. And it's not just hype. This is a supplement clinically tested that targets the root causes of thinning and shedding with a proactive approach. And of course, I've started noticing less shredding and healthier looking hair after one of my buddies have started to use Nutrafol. And whether you are at work or out with friends, I can tell he seems a lot more confident. And I love that Nutrafol is a simple add to your day. Just 4 pills the meal, no prescription needed. It's that easy. So if you see thicker, stronger hair with less shedding in just 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol, for a limited time, Nutrafol is offering Locked On MLB listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code Locked On MLB. That's Nutrafol.com, promo code Locked On MLB. And thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcast. So we do have a preview of Game 4 of this Miami Marlins Washington Nationals series. But also, with that in mind, let's talk about this, because I've got a name that I want you to watch out for. And right now, that is Erik Neander for the Tampa Bay Rays, their president of baseball operations. Guys, I just have a feeling at this point that the Nationals are looking to make a splash. I want you to look out for Erik Neander because, number one, he is from Silver Spring, Maryland. He went to Virginia Tech. He has got some local ties here with Washington, D.C. And number two, for people out there thinking, why would he leave the Rays for the Washington Nationals? It's simple for me. The Tampa Bay Rays have no chance of them spending at some point in time under this current ownership. And number two, how can you convince people to play at Tropicana Field? That's number 2 or 3. And number 3, the Tampa Bay Rays ceiling as an organization is much lower than the Washington Nationals. The Nationals are not spending money right now. But also, if you were to pick between the Rays and the Nationals, who will spend more money down the road, it's definitely the Washington Nationals. It's a bigger market. You're going to have an opportunity to maybe have new ownership come here in town. And also, at the flip side of this, the Tampa Bay Rays literally might be moving locations. And they also might be changing ownership, which means Erik Neander could be out of a job. Maybe Erik Neander and the Washington Nationals could make something happen if they give him more money. If the Nationals are out there saying, listen, man, we're going to wine and dine you. We're going to give you X amount of money, more money than what you have in Tampa. And also, you'll be able to compete relatively soon, hopefully. You're going to come in here We're going to give you a blank check to fix out the baseball operations staff. You're going to develop your talent, and hopefully down the road, we'll be able to spend on some in free agency. That's a half glass full approach. I understand. But I do want to have that on the record of saying, watch out for Eric Neander. I really would not be stunned at all to see the Nationals try to pry him away from the Tampa Bay Rays. So keep your eye out for that. And if the Nationals were to be able to do that with Eric Neander, sign me up today. And that'll be a fun one to watch. But the Nationals, they take on Ryan Weathers. And of course, Tampa Bay Rays, the Miami Marlins tonight. They try to win this series. You've won 2 of the first 3 games. Let's see what they can do against a lefty tonight. So the Southpaw matchup, MacKenzie Gore making his first start coming back from the IL today. Again, expectations are still the same for him. This was not a severe injury for him. In my opinion, MacKenzie Gore, if the Nationals were in a playoff mode, he likely would have made his last start, likely would have missed the IL. And I think right now at the Nationals and where they are, we'll see what ultimately happens down the road here. But the training wheels won't be on for MacKenzie Gore tonight. I want to see him go do his full thing. Unless something is nagging him a little bit, I would expect the Nationals to obviously have that cleared at this point. But again, with what I see tonight with MacKenzie Gore, I just want to see him go out there, have a complete full start, and see what the Nationals can do. And again, going up against Ryan Weathers, a solid left-handed pitcher, someone who is, again, a one-time very highly touted prospect with the San Diego Padres, had a really good 2024 season, has ultimately been injured this year, but again, really good stuff. This will be a tough matchup for the Washington Nationals. He has been one of their better pitchers for the Marlins all season long, so this certainly could be a pitching duel tonight, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, MacKenzie Gore's back, and that is a good thing for the Washington Nationals. So thank you all for making Locked On Nats your first listen. I will catch you guys on the flip side. Let's see if the Nationals can get a series win and keep the momentum going into the weekend. I will catch you guys on the flip side. Have a good one. Go Nats.